Hey everyone, Commander Josh Hawkins here, and welcome to the live stream. Today we're going to be playing a little bit of Kerbal Space Program, and as you can see from the thumbnail, we're going to be trying to save Lugee. Now, I'm joined by Greytest,
Hellonian Broadcastinatus.
our resident Master Kerbal Space Programmer, and he's going to help us try and save Lugee, who we'll show you in just 1 second. Actually, if I just take the thumbnail image away, here's little Lugee floating in space, and Lugee has a little bit of a problem. He doesn't have any more jetpack fuel, so he is quite literally stranded. As you can see, he's in an orbit around Kerbin, and he's been there for quite some time. I've left poor Lugee there for a while because, well, I didn't really know how to save him. So we're going to try and devise a plan to get him out of orbit and to bring him back home. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Tim. Hello, Ian. Hello, Tyler. Glad that you guys could join us in this rescue attempt.
He has the best view, but I really hope he has left some snacks in his pocket somewhere.
Oh, he has no snacks. That's it. This is the end of Lugee if we don't save. Yes, he's going to be very angry if we don't save him. So, let me just go back over here. I'll show you. Well, you can see how high up he is right now and how fast he's moving. Because this is not accelerated time. This is regular time warp. You'll see that up in the top. He's 600 kilometers above Kerbin and moving relatively quick. Let's go back to the Space Center. We'll take a look at him on the tracking so you can see what type of orbit Lugee's in. And then we'll take a look at the ships that we are going to make. Or we'll use, maybe we'll use one of my previous rescue ships. They've been doing pretty good. To pull him out of orbit and hopefully bring him back to planet Kerbin. So here's Lugee over here. Lugee Kerman. And you could see his orbit. In fact, I'm going to turn off the other stuff that I have here because we don't really need to see all of that. Let's see, what else can I disable? Oh, that'll do.
Okay, yeah, I can see him.
Okay, so he's on a polar orbit with Kerbin, which again is a little tricky.
And a little bit elliptical as well.
It's a little elliptical, and his apoapsis is 1.2 million meters, or 1,200 kilometers. His periapsis is 238 kilometers. So he's in a pretty nice orbit here. And I have had a lot more practice with Kerbal. I mean, I've been quite successful with a lot of other things. I mean, if I re-enable my satellites here, you can see I've actually made it... wait a second. Debris? No? I have made it to the moon. I have a lander on the moon now. I also have a satellite... Oh, no. No, it's just a lander on the moon. I also have a couple of satellites around Minmus performing scientific experiments, as you can see here. And I think I even made it to Duna. Where is Duna? This is Duna? Yeah, here we go. Did I make it to Duna? Okay, maybe I didn't make it to Duna. I think I attempted to make it to Duna, but I never actually got there. In fact, you'll see in just a second, I believe that spacecraft right over there that I'm highlighting is the one that was supposed to go to Duna, which never actually made it there. Anyhow, we're not going to be concentrating on Duna today. We want to save Lugee. So let's go back to the Space Center. Let's take a look at the ships that I've constructed.
One quick question there. How exactly did he get in this precarious situation there?
Well, that's an excellent question. Lugee was part of a rescue attempt for, I think it might have been either Jeb or Valentina that we had saved in previous live streams. Well, I saved Jeb on the live stream.
Yeah, Jeb was the guy in the polar orbit, so I guess you tried to save him.
I tried to save Jeb and accidentally stranded Lugee. And then I went to go and save Lugee, and what happened is I did not have the expertise that I had learned in the live streams with Jeb. And so basically what happened is Lugee ended up trying to fly towards his rescue ship, but the rescue ship was moving away too quickly, and then he got too far away from his old ship, and then he ran out of jetpack fuel as I was trying to fly him towards the rescue ship. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened to Lugee, and he's been there ever since. Birdlips is asking, is the game free to play? It's not free to play, Birdlips, but there is a free demo. So you can download the demo if you want to check that out. It's really cool. That's what got me hooked into it. And it was, I mean, I started playing the demo and I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. Why am I not buying this game? So I bought it and I had a lot of fun with it. And now, as you can see, we are in what's called the spacecraft hangar, I guess?
Yeah, by the way, quick info for everybody in the chat or just watching. This game is the 1.2 update, pre-release, experimental build, beta, whatever is out at the moment. You can opt in for that in Steam under the options. So you can try out the update that's coming in a few weeks already.
And I will point out, for anyone who watched the live stream previously, you probably noticed that I now actually have a whole bunch of new icons down the left-hand side of my screen. And that is because I took Greytest's advice and I downloaded a whole bunch of add-ons for the game, or mods. So I haven't used a lot of these, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I haven't even unlocked yet, because you still have to unlock them in certain orders. Most of the stuff that I have available right now is just the basic stuff that I've already unlocked. Although there is a few additions in there that was not part of the core game, such as these here, these fairing base and the fairing base expanded, which I use on almost every single rocket right now, as well as a couple of new engines that I have available, and some new fuel tanks, the liquid fuel tanks. I'm not sure if they're really that much different than the ones that came stock in the game, but I do like the look of them. They're a little cleaner looking, so they make the rockets look a little bit more sort of NASA-y, which I do kind of like, because it just makes it look a little cleaner and more like a rocket that you'd be proud of sending up, instead of sort of like something that's, you know, duct taped together and glued together with crazy glue like some of the Kerbal ones look like right now. I can show you an example before we get into the actual rescue mission here. This was one of my pre-modded rockets, and this one actually wasn't very efficient. I used it once and then I got rid of it, but you can see how everything sort of has like a very basic texture look to it. It's got these ribs on the fuel tanks, and all in all, I mean, yeah, it'll get you to space, but it doesn't look very pretty. I'll load in now one of my more recent ones. This was the Duna Express, and you can see that it has a bit more of a refined look. This was a multi-stage rocket that I had to add these extra 3 engines on here, which gave it that extra little boost I needed when getting into orbit. I refined this rocket quite a bit, but it's not being used anymore.
That's very sleek looking, man.
It's very sleek looking, and then that's due to the add-ons that I'm using here, the mods, which gave me these extra little boosters here, which have like a nice rounded tip on them. And you can see that the liquid fuel engines over here also have like a nice texture to them. Everything just looks so much nicer.
But you should definitely look into 2.5 meter parts for the bottom part of the rocket.
I'm getting there. I do have a couple unlocked right now, I think. Yeah, you can see here I have the larger fuel tank unlocked. You'll see that in a second on the stream. These are much bigger than the rest of them, but I don't have enough parts to start constructing those ones yet.
Because this beast is gonna be very wobbly, right?
It was a little wobbly. Actually, no, this one here wasn't that wobbly. The one that was really wobbly was, let's see, I think it was this one, the Mini Express one. This one might have been one of the wobbly ones. These ones all work pretty good, though. Like, these ones have actually reached Mini and the moon. Hey, Joshua. Evening, Overlord and everyone else. Yes. Good evening, Joshua. Welcome to the stream. You must stay here now and watch until we're finished saving Lugee. All right. If we go back to... Where is Rescue 1, Rescue 2, Rescue 3? Let's see Rescue 3. That was... here's Rescue 3. Okay, so this is the one that we're probably going to use, Greytest. You'll see that come up in a second. This one's been quite successful in rescuing other Kerbals from orbit. I've been using this for the contracted missions right now.
Very nice, yeah.
And
That'll do.
I'll show you what we've got. We have a primary stage that has a liquid, or excuse me, these are solid state boosters on the outside. There's a liquid core on the center, which I activate at the same time until we get up a little higher, and then I activate it with a little bit less thrust. And
yeah, you can always do that, right?
yeah, and then what's really nice about this one, I think this is the one that has it. Oh, you know what? It doesn't, but I'm going to go ahead and add this on because I've upgraded a lot of things, so I can actually do this now. If I go to my engines, I have these tiny little ullage motors, which you can put on the inside of the rockets like that, and what happens is when I decouple these boosters from the rest of the rocket, they actually go flying off because they have these little mini motors that just shoot them off for a second. So I'm going to keep.
But if you put them like this on the inside, you have to be careful that the bottom of the booster doesn't get like flicked into your rocket, because that can destroy stuff.
Yes, and that's actually why when I activate them, they activate first before the decoupler, and then they push them away, because I have knocked off a few of these Delta winglets, and
it should be good if you're still in atmosphere, because as soon as the booster starts tilting, it gets pushed away from the aerodynamics, basically.
Yeah. So these have been quite successful. I'm just going to put them in there. I'm going to put them at the right stage as well, which is right above these decouplers. So those activate, and then those activate. All right. And then that's the first stage, is these boosters and the liquid thrust, or the liquid booster. And then the second stage separates into just this part here, and I noticed that having these little fins is very helpful once this one separates. There's no real control on these things, but because it's still in the very upper atmosphere, it does kind of help keep it a little bit centered. It also helped reduce the wobble I was getting when I activated these Delta winglets down here while I'm still in the atmosphere. I've got 4 little RCS thrusters on there and a couple of monopropellants. I've attached quite a few solar panels to the outside of this little service bay, and I'm not sure... Oh yeah, there we go. I can still open the service bay. My Probodobodyne is now on the inside, along with a rechargeable battery. So those are protected, even though I don't really know if they need to be. And then on the top, I have my parachute, and I have my command pod with a separation stage so that they come in all by themselves with no Probodobodyne offsetting the balance. So here is our rescue rocket, and I think we're going to get this thing into orbit and start heading towards Lugee. What do you think? Looks good?
Looks good. We can do this.
All right. Let's bring this thing over to the launch pad and see what we can do. All right, here we are. Oh, you know what? We made a mistake. We left Jebediah in there. I got to bring him back to assembly.
You don't want to just switch and let Jebediah sit up there.
Nope, Jebediah.
He's got enough of that.
That's right. And you can actually see from my crew, I have a few more crew members now, because I've saved Haydeen, I've saved Bonnie and Rory, and we have our original 3. Well, I think I hired Valentina. Actually, I think I hired Bob and Valentina.
Valentina is one of the original 4 now. It used to be only the 3 guys, but since Valentina got added, she's part of the starting crew.
All right.
It's Jebediah, Bill, Bob, and Valentina.
One thing that we do not have as of yet is any type of robotic arms. But let me just make sure that that's saved. I'm going to save that with the little thrusters on there. We'll bring this back to the launch pad.
It's going to be a very delicate maneuver. You're going to have to put the the door of your capsule right in front of him without touching him.
Without touching him, yes.
Without, yes.
I know, that's going to be the tricky part right there, is the without touching him part. I'm not sure how that's going to go.
In case you should touch, I think I could have a little trick for you up my sleeve, but we'll see.
All right. Also, I'm sorry for sniffling here so much. I don't know if it's a cold or a sinus congestion infection. I don't know what I got. It's terrible either way. All right. Here we are on the launch pad. Let's take a look where we are, because we're going to need to, and of course we just passed the orbit. So we'll wait till this comes back around. Actually, you know what? No, we didn't. I'm just getting confused by all the other things here. Let's disable satellites. Actually, we could disable those. That would be Lugee. We kind of have to keep the satellites, actually. Or the pod, command pod. We could go ahead and disable those. All right, that way at least I could see when Rescue 3 gets over to Lugee's orbit. So I'm going to set him as a target, and then we're going to try to line up over here, accelerating time a little bit. Let's see if we can get him close without overshooting like I always do. All right, here we go.
Good luck.
Thank you. Slowing it down a little bit. I'm going to stop it just a little bit ahead of the orbit, because I always find that because of the planet's rotation, I tend to have to overcorrect a fair amount because we end up going past it. So I'm going to stop it right there. I think that's good. And actually, you know what? We should be looking. I think he is orbiting in a northern direction. Yeah, so he's orbiting north. So we're going to want to turn this thing north once we launch. Staging all looks good. It should be all set the same way it was before. And I'm
quick save, so you don't have to do the whole planet time warp thing again.
Thank you, Master. And we're going to put our throttle to maximum with the liquid engines, and I'll lower that down as we get up to around 300 meters a second. And in 3, 2, 1, launch. I'm going to turn on the SAS and the RCS, and I'm going to try and tilt this thing ever so slightly. Actually, I don't really... Oh my god, it's so wobbly. Maybe I don't need the SAS on. Do I want the SAS on?
You can turn the RCS off, but you want the SAS, I guess.
I want the SAS.
If it's not too wobbly.
Alright, I'm going to try to start turning down now to get to 45 degrees.
Oh, that was sleek looking. With those boosters shooting away.
I love those things. And you see, it's not too wobbly right now.
No, looks good.
Doing pretty good. But I made a little bit of a mistake, and I left the liquid fuel burning at maximum the whole time. So we're going to be a little low on liquid fuel, but we've got a very nice altitude already. I've got a 45-degree angle trajectory, and I'm going to take a look at where we're going right now. We're going almost north. Oops. Darn it, I keep doing this every time I go to click this thing. There we go. I'm going to turn a little bit more to the left to try and line that up with that axis that he's on. Let's see our fuel. We still have a little bit of liquid fuel in there. We're not going to quite get into orbit with this first stage, but we should be pretty close. Okay, so there. That first stage is done. I'm going to get rid of that, and we will continue on our orbital path here.
Tim just said, you still use liquid fuel? Pff, you gotta update to stroop waffle drives.
Oh, if only they added the stroop waffle drive, we'd all be in a better position, including Lugee. He could just eat the stroop waffles and then use his own natural gas to get himself back to Kerbin.
I love it.
All right, so we're doing pretty good. We're almost getting this lined up here. I'm going to turn a little bit more to the left, just so that when I get under the orbit, I'm almost fully aligned. I can speed this up just a little bit. Oh no, I can't, because we're under acceleration. But how are we doing? We're still increasing speed, and we are coming up to this alignment here quite nicely. So far, so good. And we're burning fuel very slowly because of this beautiful little engine I have on here. So this rescue rocket is actually pretty darn good. Let's see. I can speed it up a little bit. I'll just accelerate.
If we get this done quickly today, I think I can give you a few tips for your interplanetary adventures later.
Yes, well, I would like to ask you a couple of tips on that. Okay, so here, I'm going to slow down this time warp right about there. I'm going to realign with the axis.
Tim said the game sound might be a bit too loud.
You find the game sound is too loud? Okay, I can turn it down. Excuse me. I didn't realize it was too loud. You know what? We'll do that right now then. What would that be? The music, Tim, or the actual sound itself? I'll give him a sec for that to catch up. I'm going to mute you guys for 1 sec so I can blow my nose, because this is really irritating. Okay, he says the engine sound was pretty loud. Tim, it's a rocket. It's supposed to be loud.
Get used to it.
It's pretty much the only thing you're going to hear in the game, besides me and Greytest talking anyhow. All right.
But I do have to say the background music is very pretty in Kerbal Space Program, especially once you're in orbit somewhere.
The background music is quite relaxing, and there's some Kevin MacLeod on there that I use in my music videos. I use his music for my videos all the time.
Whenever I hear that one song by him, I'm instantly back in Kerbal Space Program. It's so cool.
So I think we're looking pretty good. I'm just pushing the ship right now down to a lower trajectory in order to get into orbit around Kerbin. And my apoapsis is a little higher than I want it to be, but that should lower down a little bit as we, well, maybe not lower down, but...
You can thrust a little bit towards the planet to counter that.
Yeah, I could do that. Let's bring it down just a little bit. It doesn't have to be by much. I just want to be able to get into orbit on this
And
stage.
Joshua said, the vocal fry is also quite deafening.
Yes, I have the power of the vocal fry. It's due to my nasal congestion. Alright, orbit is almost complete.
So it's nasal fry.
Nasal... Yes, that's exactly what it is right now. Nasal fry frying my brain is what it feels like. If anyone here suffers from allergies, you understand what I'm going through. It's just getting to that time of the year. It's a damn allergy season. Okay, so orbit is almost complete. I should see a periapsis pop up here in just a second. There it is. And I want to wait until that periapsis is a little higher before I go ahead and...
I think you can actually stop thrusting and set up a maneuver node at your apoapsis.
Yeah. And
go from there. I think it's at least going to be much more efficient. It depends on how much fuel you got left, really.
Well, let's take a look. Fuel on
because usually what you do is when you launch and do your gravity turn, you thrust until your apoapsis is around, let's say, 80 kilometers, so above the atmosphere. And then you're going to actually stop thrusting and set up a maneuver node at the apoapsis and, yeah, basically circularize your orbit from there.
So what you're saying is I have wasted a considerable amount of liquid fuel for no reason.
Probably, but you got one of those small engines on your top stage, right?
I do have a small engine, and I have a reasonable size liquid fuel canister there as well.
Yeah,
so
it's easily gonna get us to rescue Lugee.
okay.
Pretty sure.
So I want to set that up at my well, I could actually do it a little bit before the apoapsis, I suppose. It doesn't really matter, right?
No, go ahead and set it up at the apoapsis, because then, or maybe where the two orbits intersect would make sense.
That's what I was thinking, is if I did
and then try to basically line them up with one maneuver as good as you can.
That's what I was thinking.
If that's possible, I'm not pretty sure.
Now what I want to do
Give it a go.
is I want to make a circular orbit here. But I also want to tilt my orbit. Oops.
Yeah, for that you're going to have to thrust outwards away from the planet.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and line this up here as best as I can. And in doing that, look at that. My periapsis is almost exactly the same as Lugee's orbit. In fact, I could probably keep it right there. And let's see how that goes. If I lower this down a little bit... Where are the orbits intersecting right now? On completely opposite sides. Maybe I will keep the periaps at the same height.
Don't look at the intersections yet. We still have to do inclination changes and stuff like that, so they are not a good indicator as of yet.
Okay. If you can see now where it's at, my apoapsis is maybe 100,000 kilometers below his. Does that look good to you?
He's behind you. Is that the case?
I believe he is behind me, yes.
Then we're gonna have to get a bigger orbit than his, so we can let him catch up with us.
Okay, I will make a bigger orbit than his. Oh, actually, look at that. I think right here, we have a 15-kilometer separation already at that orbit. So there we go. Why don't
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It's a minute and 19 burn, but I don't know if my fuel is going to last that long, so I might have to separate, which means that the burn time will change. But
yes, but it will adjust for that, and you can just... I mean, as long as you are close to your maneuver node, that doesn't really matter. You should still get a pretty precise maneuver out of that.
Okay. Well, we should have a little bit of fuel on this first maneuver node. Let's take a look. We're 51 seconds away. I'll speed that up a little bit. Oh, actually, you know what? I should just start burning right now. There we go. 30 seconds. That's pretty good. Start burning that node and see what happens with our fuel, because it's not going to last very long. And there it goes. So I'm going to separate, and I'm going to keep burning with this rocket. And
Benjamin Potts just asked if you're gonna stream 2.2 beta next weekend.
Yes, I will be streaming 2.2. I'll probably be streaming it on Tuesday, actually, just for myself. And next weekend on the broadcast, we will be joined once again by Mr. Obsidian Ant.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, so we'll have another fun broadcast. We're going to check out all of the 2.2 features for Elite Dangerous, and we'll have plenty of discussion with Obsidian Ant there as well.
All right, I'm going to be right back with you. 1 minute.
I'm just going to continue my burn till right there looks good. Greytest is not with us for a moment, but that's okay, because I think now... Oh, he's still behind us. Well, I could make little adjustments to that to get Lugee a little bit in front of us. In fact, if I go prograde, there it is. It's a 15-kilometer intercept at... Yep, I think that's going to be good. So I'm going to burn over to the next maneuver node, right over there. Well, my phone beeps. I don't know if you guys can hear that. What's going on? Oh, okay. That wasn't what I needed to look at. Alright, we're coming up to the next maneuver node right now. I'm going to go ahead and position myself for the next burn. It's probably only going to be less than a second this burn. We'll get ourselves right there. And we'll speed this up just a tiny little bit. So we get to, there we go, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, burn, burn. And I think that'll do. Alright, that's as good as it's going to get. And now here, I will be catching up to Lugee, relative speed 71 meters per second, which is really, really good. I'm going to speed us up to this point.
I'm back.
Okay, Greytest. Well, you came back just in time. I made a slight adjustment. I now have Lugee ahead of us, so we will be chasing him. And
okay.
We're going to be at a 15-kilometer separation with only 71 meters per second relative speed difference. So
perfect. Go for it.
It's pretty good. I'm going to bring myself to a point just ahead of that, and I'm going to warp there and see how we're looking. Wow, that time warp was very quick. We should be able to see Lugee now. So let's see if I can position myself so I can actually see him. Where is he? He is over there, 16.1 kilometers and closing. So, now I just
start killing your relative velocity.
Yep, I'm going to start killing my relative velocity and lining up with his orbit as soon as I could figure out where... Oh, there we go. There's my prograde. I want to point myself down over here. Start killing my relative velocity and lining myself up with him at the same time.
And maybe quick save again, just in case we screw the whole docking thing up.
Thank you for reminding me. I am very bad with this whole quick save thing. I don't often quick save my games. I'm hardcore like that, man. Okay, so now we're actually speeding towards him. I'm going to change my orbit to the other way, or my direction to the other way, to retrograde. I'm going to try...
Benjamin, there's two ways to turn your rocket in space. What Josh is using right now are so-called reaction wheels. Those are inside the capsule, and you can also mount special modules to your rocket that have, like, yeah, just more of those reaction wheels in them.
I don't actually have any reaction wheels, do I? Hold on a second.
Those are in your capsule right now. The capsule has some built in.
Oh, okay. The capsule has reaction wheels built into it.
Yes.
Okay.
You can deactivate them actually with a right click if you are so inclined. And the other way to turn and steer your rocket, especially if you want to move laterally and not only turn your rocket, then you're going to need what's called RCS, Reaction Control Systems. Those are the small thrusters you see on the outside of Josh's rocket right there.
Which I'm highlighting right now, and you'll see.
And they can be used for lateral and also for rotational movement.
So these are the little RCS thrusters right here. I've got 4 of them positioned around the craft, which they really add the control. They make the controls much more sensitive. So we're on a slow approach now, 25 meters a second. He's still 11.2 kilometers away. We've got tons of fuel. I'm going to go ahead and speed up time a little bit until he gets to maybe 5 kilometers. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to turn around the other direction and just realign a little bit better with the orbit here. Do you want to explain what these maneuvers are, like just how I'm aligning the prograde with the orbit a little bit better?
Yeah, sure. What we're doing right now is basically you have the target vector on your nav ball, which is basically the direction in which the other spacecraft is, like the direct line to the spacecraft. And you also have the velocity vector of Josh himself, and that's the relative velocity vector. So if you're moving away from your target, it's going to be on the opposite side of the target vector on the nav ball. And if you're moving towards it, it should be right on your target vector. So what Josh is doing right now, he's basically trying to get his velocity vector on target, so he moves towards his target. And you can, if in the process you want to try to slow down a bit so you don't crash into your target. So he's basically turning his rocket the other way around, and whenever his velocity vector gets off center, you're gonna actually thrust even further. Like you're gonna turn your directional indicator on the nav ball even further away from your target to bring your velocity vector back into the target. But Josh, you got this. You got this down. I don't have to help you there anymore.
I think we're doing good with this part. I'm actually going to slow it down. Now, this is going to be very tricky again because I don't want to bump into him. We're less than 500 meters now. We're coming in at 12 meters a second. I'm going to slow it down a little bit more. I'm going to bring it down to about 5 meters a second, just so that the fine adjustments are not going to throw me off too much once we get very close to him, because little adjustments can make a huge difference here. And because he doesn't have a rocket pack, I need to get right up next to him with no relative velocity so that I don't zip past him. And that's going to be tricky. So the relative velocity, my vector is the yellow, and the pink is Lugee. In order to line them up, right now I'm facing away from him, so I'm facing in... Well, actually, I'm facing away from him, but my ship is pointed retrograde. That's indicated by the yellow that has the little cross through it. It's a little hard to make out on the screen just because it's a little small, but there is a cross through the center of that yellow. And this pink marker here with the 3 lines is pointing towards his retrograde as well, if I believe. If I turn the other way, you'll see that I'm pointing my prograde, and this is his prograde. In order to align these in the prograde, you have to put your pointer opposite of the prograde in order to bring your relative direction towards his. So you'll see here it points it towards, and then it works the exact opposite for retrograde. In retrograde, it pushes it. So you want to be
exactly.
You want to be outside of it in order to push it. So
watch your distance.
Yep, I'm watching the distance. We're less than 100 meters. I'm going to start slowing down just a little bit more here. I'll bring it down to less than a meter a second.
And I would actually recommend, once you're close enough and you feel confident and you brought your spacecraft to a halt, to actually deactivate your engines, so no accidents happen, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Now, we're only approaching at a half a meter a second, which for me to kill my velocity is going to be pretty easy. I just literally have to tap the engine. But that's where it gets pretty tricky too, because one tiny little tap and he has no control. He's got no jetpack. We're literally floating away from him even at 0.1 meters a second, and he will not be able to catch us. So I'm almost wondering if once we get within a few meters of him, if I should fire in his direction and maybe 0.1 meters a second and then switch to him, or if I should just try to get the spacecraft right up next to him. Because the problem there is that the RCS thrusters will not send you backwards.
Yes, they will.
They will? Oh, Greytest. You're going to teach me,
What you want to do is get as close as you can and then bring your spacecraft to a dead halt if you can. Then we're going to turn off the engine and switch to the RCS thrusters.
Oh, Greytest. Master Greytest. You will teach me. I am your Padawan.
The RCS thrusters have 6 degrees of freedom. You can move forwards, backwards, upwards, downwards, left and right, and you can rotate with them as well. But you don't need the rotation. We have the reaction controls, or the reaction wheels for that.
All right. Well, that sounds fantastic. Look, we can see Lugee's big fat head right now. We're coming in. We're 28 meters, 27 meters. At what distance should I stop? 10 meters away, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're still doing pretty good here. Actually, that's 10 meters from the command module, so I'm going to stop. Okay, so we have 0 relative velocity. Now you're saying I want to turn my engines off. I do that by right-clicking on them and say shut down engines. Is that correct?
Yes.
Engines are off. Now, how do I activate the RCS thrusters?
You click R on your keyboard.
Ah,
you're gonna see on the top left of your nav ball, the green icon is gonna light up, and that says that your RCS is activated.
Yep, got it. Now.
So now your RCS controls are actually on the, I think it's H, J, K, and I, or H, J, K, and U. I'm not pretty sure anymore. I didn't use RCS for a while. And those are your lateral movement keys. And be careful, you really have to get those down.
How do I flip my ship over so that the cockpit is facing him?
You can still do that with your normal controls as you did before.
Okay, I see. It's adding a little bit of velocity here, though, unfortunately.
That's because you only have one set of RCS thrusters, and they're probably not perfectly aligned with your center of mass. So whenever you turn, you're gonna add some lateral velocity as well. But shouldn't be too much, really. It's gonna be interesting if you can get the lateral controls down, because they are pretty hard, because it's just weird to use those different keys for those movements.
Yeah, I have to see what is... Oh no, it's not you. Oh, it's I.
First, yeah, try to halt your spacecraft completely, and then...
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, though. I have to figure out...
You need the key which basically thrusts your rocket to the left right now, because you're drifting to the right.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which key that is. Which is the forward and back?
That's the one. I see you do it right now on screen.
Which is the back one, though? JKL.
JKL, maybe IO or something? No. Maybe Z as well? Yeah, it's in this area. I can't tell you definitely, but you'll find it.
Well, we're losing distance from Lugee here. I'm going to turn around.
That's okay. You got plenty of monopropellant left.
Yeah, I don't know how fast the monopropellant gets consumed, so...
you want to find your... Yeah, either flip around or find your backwards thrusters with the RCS. Because you actually accelerate it all the time.
Well, I need to figure out which button is the forward... Okay, H is forward. Yeah, H is forward.
Then either Z or U, or maybe N is going to be backwards.
Oh, N. There we go. Oh my gosh, that's not complicated at all.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But with a little bit of training, you're going to get that.
Yeah, at least that'll help. So now I can realign here. H. Realign. And N is going to go backwards. Okay, I think we could do this.
Joshua said, turn flight assist on.
That's an excellent idea. If only there was such a thing.
Oh, there are actually mods that gonna do the whole rendezvous thing for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's pretty much everything you can imagine in Kerbal Space Program. It's out there somewhere.
Now that's just cheating.
The modding community is huge. Yeah, of course, but then again, people, if people use these tools, they can take their gameplay to a next level. They just manage a whole fleet of spacecraft at the same time and have them all go to all the planets in the Kerbal system.
Okay, look. I I think we're doing pretty good here. We're actually coming up on him at a nice, slow velocity. We're underneath him, which is right about there. I think if I just use the H and the N now, I may be able to get right up underneath him with these RCS thrusters. Lugee, we're coming for you, buddy. We're coming. I never thought I would save him until I got a robotic arm, but
now try to see where he's facing, and then you want to align your capsule door with that, like the orientation of your spacecraft first, that he can basically attach flat to the capsule door, so we don't knock him out of the way, and then be careful that you don't bump into him already.
Yeah.
And then you wanna basically only manage your lateral movements from there on.
Okay, well I think this is perfect what we're doing right now. And I'm pretty much lined up with him.
Tim is tossing him a stroopwafel so he's not angry.
Don't get angry, Lugee. We're coming to rescue you. Look at this. We're so close right now. Okay, I'm going to kill my relative velocity as soon as he's above. He's so close.
Bird lips, it's basically dependent on your fighting style you prefer. The Cobra is a ship that can run away. It's pretty fast, so you can always run away from a fight or just get some distance and then re-engage. The Viper is more of a turn fighter and probably also has the better shields of the two.
Okay, I'm going to switch to Lugee because I have a feeling that we're coming in right now. Oh no, we're a little bit... We're going to have to just back this up just a tiny, tiny little bit. Switch back to Lugee.
Yeah, you always want to change your camera angles to figure out how the relative positions are. That's one of the hardest parts in the game, because you always only have like one viewing angle on the whole thing, so you always have to switch around to see how your actual relative position is.
Oh, grab! We got him!
Yes! Congratulations! Wow!
Lugee's on board, folks. Yes! First attempt. Way to go.
That was good work. Respect,
all right.
man.
Now we can bring Lugee home. Lugee was...
Quick save first. Go quick save right now.
Quick saving right now. Thank you. Good reminder. And let's see. We want to bring him back to the launch area, which is... Where is the launch area? I think it's on this peninsula.
So you want to aim for the Space Center?
Let's try and aim for the Space Center. I'm not saying we're going to, but we'll give it a shot. And I think the Space Center... Here, I've got it zoomed in now. It'll take a second to update, but I believe the Space Center is right about here somewhere. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Tim, I brought a heat shield.
So I suggest that you bring your periapsis down to about 70 kilometers right now. And then we can just warp ahead and see if the Space Center is actually going to be roughly below us at the periapsis. If that's the case, we can lower our periapsis even more, so we actually touch down on this orbit. If not, we can do another round and see if in the next orbit it's better aligned.
Okay, well, I have reactivated my engines, which is a good thing. And do you want me to bring my periapsis down to what?
70.
All right, we can do that. That's no problem.
Just above 70, so you can still time accelerate.
All right, we're bringing the periapsis down. Right now it's at 200. We're bringing it down slowly. We have tons of fuel left, and this is going to be a successful mission.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I know. I'm really excited to bring Lugee home. He's been trapped up there for a very, very long time. Okay, so here we go. Periapsis is now at 71.9. And then we want to change. What do we want to change now?
For now, nothing. I just time warp ahead and see if the space center comes roughly below your periapsis. But don't time warp too far. So if it's gonna be below the orbit, then we actually have to bring our periapsis down to about 30 kilometers to actually decelerate.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, one orbit from you is like maybe a sixth of a revolution of Kerbin.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to go around several more times to align that.
Right. Okay, puppies, that's enough. That's enough. We know you're very excited. There's people outside. All right, let's see. Okay, you know what? Yeah, okay, so we're not going to get there before the... Oh, well, we might. I think it's going to line pretty good on this next orbit. The periapsis is going to be right above the landing center. So do I want to start lowering it down now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Lower it down to about 35 so we don't brake too hard.
All right. Lower it down. Bring it down to 35, he said. Oh, damn sticky keys always pop up on me while I'm trying to lower my orbit because of the shift key. 35. Okay, 35 and 75 meters. I think that should be okay, right?
I hope so. Yeah, maybe we're gonna overshoot a little bit, especially since your periapsis is a little bit north of the equator.
Well, why don't I bring it down a little bit more?
Yeah, you can do it. As long as you got a heat shield, you should be okay.
I have a heat shield.
Bring it down to about 30. I think that should get us down quickly enough.
Okay, let's see. We'll bring it down to 30, just below 31. So there we go. All right, and now it's just a matter of time acceleration. Where is the planet? Love when you can't find the planet. There we go.
Maybe stage your spacecraft right now.
You think so?
Yeah, because then you're gonna get a lot of separation in the meanwhile. Because the other part of your spacecraft is gonna have a different orbit than you.
I have so much liquid fuel, though. I could use it to slow down and bring my periapsis down even further.
You can do that. But then you have to be careful. If you stage inside the atmosphere, you always run the risk of crashing into your own.
Okay, so I'm not going to stage within the atmosphere. I'm going to stage up here, and like by the time we get, let's warp over to here. That's not too.
That's actually a good thing. So you can basically adjust your final approach.
Exactly. Okay, so there we go. Now I can start, because I'm going pretty fast. I want to slow this down a little bit. We're 100 kilometers up. We're coming in very, very fast. I'm going to slow down and adjust my periapsis so that it comes down even further here. I'm going to bring my speed down considerably. Now, I know that you've done this where you say, like, get it to, like, 30,000. I usually just bring my periapsis down like this and just descend right into the orbit. So I think right about there ought to do. Right about there. So now I have a bit more of a controlled descent. Now I'm going to go ahead and separate. Let's do this. Let's just turn around, point that downwards, and separate.
Maybe you can hit that small island there. That would be cool.
Now we're in orbit. I'm pointing my capsule in the retrograde direction, which is where it needs to be. We're already at 63,000. We're going to see where we end up. I might land in the ocean, but it's going to be very close. It's going to be close to the landing center.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do I want to turn SAS off at this point?
If you don't, then just make sure you always point at your retrograde vector. You have to do that manually. If you turn it off, your capsule should actually align automatically.
Why it's
And
drifting
RCS
off. I don't know why.
just a little bit. That's just due to the shape of the capsule. But if your RCS is turned off, the SAS is turned off, then it should align from itself.
It wants to drift very quickly. I'm going to keep the SAS on because right now, if I turn it off, it starts drifting like uncontrollably fast. Okay, I can hear my rockets just burned up down there. We're coming in pretty fast, but that's okay. The heat shield should keep us.
You can watch your ablator go down.
Yeah, it's going down right now. All right, we are. Yeah, the ablator is okay. It's holding up. We're already less than 2. Oh, there goes the rockets. You can see them blowing up in the back there because they had a considerable amount of fuel left in them. We're gonna be fine. This is looking good. I'm no longer taking any extra heat on the heat shield.
Now I have to think about this meme of this dog guy sitting in the room on fire. This is fine.
Yeah, this is fine. We have re-entered the atmosphere successfully. We are no longer supersonic.
So just a matter of getting your parachute right.
And we almost got to that island.
Almost. All right. You could have adjusted for that with the rest of your fuel.
Yeah, I probably could have. We're gonna go ahead and deploy the parachute at 3 kilometers. Lugee doesn't look very excited. He's pretty upset right now.
Yeah.
That's okay, Lugee. We're bringing you home, buddy. 3 kilometers, deploying the chute. And it's a successful rescue. As soon as that chute deploys. There we go. All right, Lugee. You can relax now.
Congratulations.
Snacks are coming up.
First try, this time for real.
First try.
This time as well.
Yeah, I mean, of course, absolutely. Didn't have to do any quick saves or anything. Look at that. All right, Lugee is home. Hey, he's smiling, he's waving, he's like, I did it. And you know what? Once he lands, we'll see if we can grab some EVA data from him. I'm not sure if there's something with the EVA data. I've noticed that I can't get EVA data anymore, or EVA reports from my crew, because I guess I've done EVA reports many times already.
No, there's different biomes on Kerbin. So right now, if you actually if you EVA and you're still on your capsule on the ladder, then you should be able to make an EVA report from above Kerbin's seas or above Kerbin. Yeah, I think.
Which I've done already. That's why.
Yeah,
okay.
Then you're not gonna get any signs anymore.
Okay.
But you can also drop into the water and then get a surface sample or a surface experiment from the oceans.
I've probably done that, but let's take a look before we bring him home. We'll go ahead and drop into the water. Hopefully he doesn't sink. And get an EVA report. No, so I've already done that as well.
Okay, and then go back into the capsule so you can recover both at the same time.
It wants me to dump experiments. Well, I don't really need to because there was nothing to dump there. All right, so we've brought him home. We're going to recover the vessel. And I wonder what data he had with him, if anything. I'm going to just check my science. And we have successfully brought Lugee home. 0 science earned. That's unfortunate. We recovered just a tiny little bit of funds from the parts. And Lugee has advanced to level 1, ready for his next assignment. Congratulations, Lugee. You've made it home. And I'd say that was a very successful rescue mission right there. At 59 minutes and 10 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream right now. But Greytest, if you want to stick around, I'm going to keep playing here for a little bit more. You're certainly welcome to join me. Otherwise,
All right.
for everyone else who's watching, thanks for joining in. That was a successful rescue mission on Kerbal Space Program, joined by Greytest, our resident Kerbal Space Program Master. Thank you very much for joining, Greytest.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And for all of you guys watching, Benjamin, Joshua, J Funky, Tim. Oh, I'm trying to scroll on my live stream. That doesn't really work. Hold on a sec. Let's see who else is in there. J Funky, Tim, Brandon Rodriguez, Birdlips, Ian Pogel, and I think that's the only people who have actually spoken in here. Oh, no, there was another one. Polsky Astronauta. And I guess that would be it. That Tiny Dude was in here too. Hey, Tiny Dude. And Tyler Anderson. That was the last one. And former Prime. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining in. That was a very successful mission. Glad you guys jumped in here for a little bit of fun with Kerbal. And we will certainly do this again. I have more missions to do. So, Greytest, thanks once again for joining in. And for all you guys, I'll see you next time. This is Commander Josh Hawkins signing off.